Nimesikia tu hiyo inaitangwa mushene, that there might be an impeachment, and I think I've been on record saying I will not sign, I cannot sign.
A section of MPs vowed to defend Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against the planned impeachment.
Kini kwa sasa tunaomba, wengi wetu tumefugiwa manyumba, tutaenda wapi?
Also, coming up, victims of the Mahi Mahiu Dam tragedy face eviction from rental houses. Welcome to the program. And the Cabinet Secretary nominees were vetted today, with 5 nominees facing the Parliamentary Committee on Appointments. Among the 5 is former CS for Energy Davis Chirchir, who could be making a comeback. As CS for Roads and Public Works, Chirchir faced a barrage of questions from the committee, especially on his record in his previous docket, where he oversaw a national blackout that paralyzed services at the JKIA. Brian Amoy reports on the process that seeks to give the president a cabinet to drive his agenda for the country.
Mr. Chirchir, you are at the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum.
Day 2 of the vetting process. The search for the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Roads, so former CS Ministry of Energy, appear before the Committee on Appointments chaired by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula.
Let me leave it at that for now, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, that will do.
His record in the Ministry of Energy hunting him once again as he seeks to take over from Kipchumba Murkomen. As CS Energy, Chirchir oversaw a ministry that led to an increase in the cost of power in the country.
We are working to deliver the cheapest cost of electricity and today the cheapest cost of petroleum products in the country, albeit with no budget support, because all this is private capital, off balance sheet. We do not have to work on the treasury balance sheet. Otherwise, we'll need 20 years, Chairman, to be able to fulfill those commitments that we have signed onto and that we have to deliver because they are contractual.
His tenure oversaw a government-to-government oil deal that was later termed a flop. However, the CS nominee says it was the best work and a legacy that he will forever hold to heart.
The G2G chair was brought in to forestall the challenge of unavailability of the US dollars in the industry. And we did build a very quick solution to ensure that the country would not run dry. We could be able to purchase petroleum, pay Kenya shillings, on a deferred LCs, which would be confirmed by international AAA or what you would call investment grade banks, over the local issued LCs, and be able to get the product and pay later when the situation improves. So G2G was great. I think it is something, Chair, when there is time and I write my book, it will be one of my legacy delivery to this country. Adani.
The state of infrastructure in the country becoming a subject of debate and the management of Kenya Airways going down the drain. Chichi says he has the plan to save the national carrier fly above the clouds.
To Adani, Chair, we look at Adani. We'll need, like I opened by saying, public participation, provide information, have a framework in terms of what you would call term sheet, in terms of what is the correct return on investment when we are bringing a PPP.
During his tenure as the Energy CS, his ministry was marred with national blackouts that brought the nation to a standstill, stopping the functionality of the nation's biggest airport, the JKIA, with the committee pointing out that no one paid the price for the international embarrassment.
To build those kilometers of roads where commitment has been given, having to pay the 160 to 170 billion Kenya shillings on bending bills and growing by the hour, growing by the day, is something that we can look at what you would call securitization of the little money we have in the road maintenance levy, and borrowing a bullet today and paying with an interest over 10 years, and we should be able to finance.
His next assignment is taking on a ministry that has huge pending bills hitting the 165 billion mark, making the construction of new roads a mission next to impossible. The fate of Chirchir now hangs with the Committee on Appointments as the vetting process continues up to Sunday. His fate will be known once the committee retreats and then writes a report on the suitability of the candidates. Brian Amoy, K24. Nairobi.
And at the same time, former Cabinet Secretary for Defense Aden Duale says he did not deploy the Kenya Defense Forces internally to contain the Gen Z protest out of his own volition. Duale says the Constitution took over when police officers were overwhelmed in containing the protests, necessitating deployment of the military. The Ministry of Environment Cabinet nominee was appearing before the committee on appointments for vetting.
Environment Cabinet Secretary nominee Aden Duale was among those appearing before the Parliamentary Appointment Committee for vetting, which entered its second day today. Duale was put to task to demonstrate his ability to fulfill his duties in the position, as he is among those who have returned to the cabinet after being previously dismissed.
I'm not John Michuki, but I will be like John Michuki.
If approved by this parliamentary committee, Duale will take over the ministry at a time when there is an increase in allegations of people grabbing forest land for personal use. He has vowed to prioritize this issue in the first 30 days of his tenure, particularly focusing on the Ololua forest in Kajiado County, which was originally 66 acres before being encroached upon.
I will revoke those, and I am ready to bear the consequences.
Some of those who have encroached upon the Ololua forest are believed to be high-ranking government officials, including members of parliament. Duale has warned that he will not recognize rank or position when revoking illegal forest. Duale has warned that he will not recognize rank or position when revoking illegal forest land titles.
Forestry will be my business. Grabbers of forest land will be my business. Whoever they are, whatever their status is in society.
One of the main goals of the government is to plant more than 15 billion trees by 2032. A target Duale insists is achievable, citing similar efforts in other countries.
10 to 15% of the trees we are going to plant must be fruit trees, that communities see the value. That as you plant trees, they also plant mango, they plant many other fruit trees that will entice our communities.
Other reforms Duale has promised to implement in the ministry, if given the opportunity, include tree planting in cities and homes. He emphasized that those wishing to cut down trees will be required to prove they have planted others before being granted a permit. Before his appointment to the Ministry of Environment, Duale served as the Defense Minister, and ghosts from his previous docket came haunting. He was required to explain what led to his dismissal and the issue of corruption during military recruitment.
When women are discriminated against, when they do a test, pregnancy test, they do not have anything. But once they go there, I don't know where it comes from, they have a pregnancy.
One of my constituents was told that his testicles are not equal. That is why he's being dismissed or returned from the training camp. So I wanted to seek clarification from the CS to tell me what are the guidelines.
They will tell you something about even the teeth. They will tell you many things. And some of these things is because when you go, the training of the Kenya Defense Forces is so vigorous that you don't risk to take somebody who will die in the course of the training. So don't compare it with how the police are trained. Don't compare it with how the Kenya prisoners are trained.
Duale also took the opportunity to defend his decision to deploy the military to handle protesters. He insisted that he did not deploy the Kenya Defense Forces during the anti-finance bill protests. Duale said it was the doing of the framers of the Constitution of Kenya, and his deployment was in line with the law.
If KDF did not come to assist the other security agents, God forbid, many members of parliament could have died, including our speaker. Parliament could have been burnt. I will not be that irresponsible as a minister of defense with a provision of the Constitution. Provision of the Constitution, I use the law.
And regarding his wealth,
my net worth, Mr. Speaker, is as of today 980 million.
David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.
And Cabinet Secretary Nominee for Agriculture and Livestock Dr. Andrew Karanja has vowed to crush corruption cartels at Kilimo House, and as Milia Kisienya reports, the nominee has also promised to introduce a raft of measures at the Ministry of Agriculture to save it rather from the string of scandals it has faced so far.
My question to the nominee.
Equipped and ready to serve Kenyans,
I would like to say that
Agriculture CS nominee Andrew Karanja settled, ready to defend his suitability in the vetting room in the highly scandalous ministry.
What is your net worth?
my net worth is 214 million shillings.
And different from his predecessor, Karanja holds a master's degree in agriculture and economics. And highly qualified for the job, through his academic papers, his skills were tested. And to redeem himself, going hard at corrupt cartels was his first stop if appointed.
If I am approved by this House and this committee, I'm saying I'm giving a notice on cartels. Notice that they will be out of business.
Lawmakers sitting in the National Assembly Committee on Appointment took him to the task to explain how he will deal with perennial graft at Kilimo House. Some full of doubt of how he will deal with the graft menace.
I've seen that you are worth 214 million. You are going into this sector. All those cartels are there, and they are willing to make you a billionaire within the next 3 years. Are you going to be able to resist, Bwana Nominee?
I can resist whether they will be able to make me a billionaire.
Fertilizer is one of the biggest problems when it comes to corruption also. How are you going to work with the industries locally here to develop a fertilizer manufacturing program within the country here so that this issue of importation of fertilizer can end? So if you can prove those two things, for me, I'll be satisfied. Because I know after 1 year, you will be walking jobless in the street, I can assure you. I can tell you.
You realize that where cartels thrive is where public interest is compromised. I will do whatever it takes to promote public interest.
President William Ruto's administration was rocked by a fertilizer scandal during the tenure of former Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi, where farmers were supplied with substandard fertilizer scandal by companies contracted by the government to supply the farm inputs. And those who were marked to be responsible for the scandal await their fate in court. CS nominee Andrew Karanja has on the other side promised to carry the mantle of introducing new raft measures.
I have a governance structure which will guide the way fertilizers are procured, the way they are distributed, by having a multi-agency system which can check on some of these cartels.
And asked if he will bend the cries of Kenyan farmers on ensuring the burden of taxes is reduced.
What other measures would you take to, or what non-tariff interventions would you have to ensure that we protect these local farmers, grow our own local industries, and at the same time do what Kenyans are asking us not to increase taxes on the imported products?
But I would also like to convince Kenyans that this is something which we need to do. Get those taxes, create some barriers, so that our industry, especially for oil, these imports, substitution, we get it right. Because we should not be, every import is a job exported. So we need also to have, we cannot have our cake and eat it at the same time.
Corruption scandals have rocked President William Ruto's government in quick succession, and the Ministry of Agriculture, crucial ministry in the eyes of many Kenyans, has been on the daily headlines of a string of corruption cases, marking it as the bedroom of corruption. Some of the cases that are still pending in court include the 197 million fake fertilizer scandal that saw former CS Mithika Linturi being crucified by Kenyans for failing his mandate. The second being the 20,000 bags of sugar imported in 2018 and condemned over expired date. But the bags would later find their way into the Kenyan market. The situation would later see the president being prompted to suspend the 27 officials who are involved for further investigation. Milia Kisienya, K24 TV.
Well, with that report from Melia Kesenya, we take our first break here at K24 Evening Edition. I'll see you in a short while. Stay tuned.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, SMS, Twitter, and WhatsApp.
Wapwani mpo! Kilifi na Kwale tumewasili. Sasa unaweza burudika na Star Times DTT kila maeneo ya miji ya Kilifi na Kwale. Tumbuika na vipindi kemkem vya kusisimua katika station yetu mpya ya Rainbow TV Plus kuanzia Julai tarehe 1. Rainbow TV Plus, kina cha burudani. Wasiliana na customer care yako nambari 0719 077 077 hivi leo. Upate taarifa zaidi pa kununua DTT Star Times decoder. Uenjoy zaidi ya channel 75 local na international. Usiwachwe nyuma. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Welcome back. And Water, Sanitation and Irrigation CS nominee Eric Muga has emphasized the need to employ and engage the youths in policy making. The 32-year-old, said to be the youngest if he is approved, has further disagreed with the claims that the nomination seeks to quell the Gen Z, saying he is qualified and experienced in spite of his age. Facing the committee, Muga has vowed to complete the stalled dam projects, ensure 100% accessibility of water, and deal with corruption. And as Harriet Chimia reports, Muga is the first nominee in history with less than 50 million shillings net worth.
If I may answer the question, Honorable Speaker.
32-year-old Eric Muga Murithi is set to be the youngest serving cabinet secretary if approved as the Water, Sanitation and Irrigation CS.
Look at the whole country.
However, questions arose of whether he is suitable or was nominated to cure Gen Z and young people as a whole.
You are the closest the Gen Zs can come to. And that puts you like a control experiment in the management of the nation. A point whereby if you succeed, the young people feels that, yes, we can do it, one of our own did it.
Mr. Speaker, you know, when young people are given jobs at this level, high level, I don't know what happens. Immediately after swearing in, they are removed from the register of young people in the public eye. They become older people. Then the agitation continues that we want a young person on the table.
I could be young of age, but I truly understand the responsibilities.
Will members intimidate you?
Don't look at the size and think you can easily intimidate me.
Muga also made history as the first CS nominee under the Kenya Kwanza administration with less than 50 million shillings net worth.
My net worth is that 1 million Kenya shillings.
What is it made of? You've done much better than your age mates.
I come from a region that is engaged in farming.
Yes.
So I've invested in lands and planted crops. tea, if you've been to the region.
Yes.
Coffee, bananas, and other...
Mira.
Definitely.
Do you own a car?
No.
In his plan, Muga emphasized the need to employ and engage the youth in policy making while also vowing to root out corruption.
I would encourage innovation in activities such as modeling, which will empower and employ young people in these water service providers. I would also be a champion to developing policies, not only in my ministry, but in other ministries that include and take care of public participation, especially the young people, inclusivity, and that their opinions are heard.
He also stated that among his first priorities is to complete dam projects. Concerning the drying Nairobi taps owing to close proximities of boreholes,
Nairobi is every day turning into a concrete jungle. I will work in partnership with departments of planning in the county government and have something we call detention and retention ponds. Our roofs direct the water to the drains, and the water flows very fast past at the river, and it's gone. There's no seepage. So detention and detention dams are some of the ideas I would like to bring to the ministry, whereby, working in conjunction with county governments, we have parks specifically to hold that runoff.
Muga also stated his plans for water accessibility in drought-prone areas by harvesting and conserving through various means, including technology.
We have to start from the basics. Install gutters in all our primary schools and provide them with tanks. Then the next immediate solution would be, can these people have a borehole that serves the school and the community at large? The medium-term solution, why don't we have a water pan, and that water is shared among schools during dry periods? The long-term solution is what I talked of. Our only solution is having large storage dams.
In regard to achieving 100% water accessibility by 2030,
invest, as I said, on smart meters, minimize non-revenue water, have these water service providers function as semi-autonomous bodies, so that they can also attract funding.
If approved as Water CS, Muga is set to face the over 4 billion shillings budget cuts in the ministry, a matter he vows to brave and come up with revenue generation solutions, as well as partner with the private sector. Harriet Chimea, K24.
And away from that to politics, now the ruling party UDA has revoked Cleophas Malala's appointment as its Secretary General. Malala has been replaced with Hassan Omar in an acting capacity. The decision by the National Executive Committee, chaired by Cecily Mbarire, caused a standoff between police and Malala's supporters on a section of Ngong Road, which is adjacent to the party headquarters.
Tension gripped the ruling UDA party headquarters following conflicting notices of meetings, one by the chair Cecily Mbarire slated for today, while that of SG Cleophas Malala was dated the 9th. This will force Mbarire's team to arrive at the party by 5 a.m. amid tension that some youth would block the gate, stopping any meetings. Police officers were recorded in these videos lobbing tear gas canisters to disperse goons who invaded the Hustler Plaza in attempts to scatter the ongoing National Executive Council meeting. After hours of deliberations, the UDA party resolved to revoke Cleophas Malala as the Secretary General and replace him with Hussein Omar in an interim capacity.
Tunamwambia wachane na kuyumbayumba na kuleta tetesi. Yeye aliletwa kwa hewa na pia ametolewa kwa hewa. Na sisi pia sote hapa tumeletwa kwa hewa. Na wenyewe tukiwa kikaa ile neki kikaa ikisema tafadhali nenda. Mimi nimeingia hapa tu leo. Kesho mtu akiniambia niende kwa nini?
The acting SG now says this is a fresh start for the party as the new cabinet is set to be in place soon, pledging to steer the ship in support of the government of national unity.
Hiari ya watu sasa utakuja kumongoza nani hapa? Koti gani itakurudisha hapa ufikirie utaweza kuingia State House au kuingia katika idara za serikali kama katibu ambaye uliletwa na koti? Hiyo haiwezekani. Hiyo tunakuambia kwa heshima, wewe kubali matokeo. Wakenya wanasemaje, anguka nayo,
Hii nafasi si geni kwake kwa sababu before alikuwa katika chama cha Wiper kama Secretary General. Kwa hivyo ana tajriba na nafasi kama hiyo, na tuna imani atachangia pakubwa chama tawala cha UDA kuzidi kugrow, especially katika mwambao wa pwani, tukiconsider eneo hili ni eneo la upinzani wa ODM.
Tuko na matarajio kuwa asikuwe tu acting, lakini aweke katika hicho kiti.
Sisi tunaunga mkono jambo hilo. Sarai kulingana na capacity yake is a unifying factor. Ni mtu ameonekana kuchapa kazi, is an asset kwa chama.
UDA recently has witnessed drama after lawyer Joe Halende declared himself the SG, who later be injured after being attacked by goons.
Clearly, one Cleophas Malala has joined our opponent. He is supporting the Tawe movement. He is supporting agendas that contradict the ruling party.
He has failed the party leader, and the UTA members have lost confidence in his performance.
It's believed that there are plans to also oust Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy party leader at a time that his impeachment motion has been planned for tabling as soon as cabinet is reconstituted.
Where we take issue is the deliberate scheme to sabotage the party, to sabotage the leadership, to sabotage the membership, and to sabotage, most importantly, the president, the state, and the security of the state.
According to Hassan Omar, it's possible Malala was being used by Gachagua to sabotage plans by the party leader, President William Ruto. Joel Chacha, K24TV, Nairobi.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says he will not be drawn into political sideshows, stating that he is focused on assisting President William Ruto to succeed in the economic transformation and development of the country. This comes even as MPs led by Jubilee Party leader Sabina Chege backed his call for devoted leadership and appealed to their colleagues in the Parliament to dedicate their time to addressing the challenges facing the nation, like youth unemployment. Busara Naman with more details.
As the political heat and the controversy surrounding the alleged plot to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua continues to soar, the Deputy President seems unbothered, saying that he will not be drawn into political sideshows, reiterating his mandate of working for common mwananchi.
Mambo ya siasa nyinyi muendelee naye. Mimi niko kwa mambo ya maendeleo, niko kwa mambo ya kahawa, mambo ya majani chai, mambo ya bangi, mambo ya pombe, kujenga kanisa, kujenga shule, kusaidia rais afaulu, sisi tuko hapo.
Speaking in Gitanga, Murang'a County during the Golden Jubilee celebrations of ACK Thika Memorial Church School, Gachagua said he's focused on driving reforms in the agricultural sector, eradicating illicit brews and drug abuse, and supporting the president as his principal assistant.
Wale nataka endelea na siasa, waendelee. Na ni sawa. Lakini wakifanya ile siasa yote wanafanya, wanarudi huko ground, wanasikiza. Wanapata mwelekeo. Wasikuje kupotea. Because mimi naona wengi watakunywa maji.
At the event, he was accompanied by his wife, Pastor Dorcas, Murang'a Deputy Governor Stephen Mburu, Gatanga MP Wakili Edward Muriu, Kangema MP Peter Kihungi, nominated MP Sabina Chege and MCAs. Backing the Deputy President, the MPs faulted their colleagues whom they claimed were concentrating on negative politics instead of working for the people.
I also plead with the members of Parliament that we have no time for sideshows. And I want to assure you, Your Excellency, nimesikia tu hiyo inaitangwa mushene, that there might be an impeachment. And I think I've been on record saying I will not sign, I cannot sign, and I have no time for that.
Wakati kuna mambo inakuja inasema ati kuna mjadala impeachment ya His Excellency the Deputy President. Niseme ya kwamba hiyo mjadala hatujaiona.
As leaders, we have got responsibilities. Whether we like it, whether we don't.
MP Edward Muriu asked leaders to unite and work towards the development of the nation.
Ya ombi letu kama viongozi, kama watu wa mlima, ni kitu moja peke yake. We know very well this country will prosper when there is peace and the unity of the leaders. Your Excellency, najua you are good in that.
Busara Naman, K24 TV.
You're watching K24 Evening Edition, and at this point we take another breather here, and we'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned for that.
Your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached on Facebook, SMS, Twitter and WhatsApp.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Welcome back.